So 06 the next morning, I show up and we have the screening test. And all battalions had their own screening test. I was in 3-6 back in the early days. And the screening test then was, I believe I'm doing this from memory. We had to run a PFT, Marine Corps PFT, which is a 3-mile run and then maximum pull-ups, maximum sit-ups in 2 minutes. The maximum score on the 3-mile run was 18 minutes. You had to run at least a 285, which means you had to do it in 21 minutes or better. And we had to wear boots. So it wasn't in tennis shoes. You had to come out in what's called boots and utes. So we ran the PFT. Then you had to run the Marine Corps obstacle course twice, back to back, within, I think, 2.5 minutes each. So you're pretty tired at this point. Then they drug us out to the pool, and we had to do a first class swim test, which basically amounts to other Marines that swim better than you trying to drown you. And if you don't drown, then you're okay. No, it's actually a swim test. You have to do 500 meters wearing full camis, side stroke, breaststroke in a certain amount of time. You have to do a bunch of these exercises. Needless to say, you get out of the pool, you've already put on a few miles, pretty exhausted. Then they hand you a sheet and you have to go do a land navigation course. I believe we had 4 hours to do it. And, the land nav was covering about 6 or 7 miles. And so you had to calculate and say, well, I'm going to have to look for these spots. So you're moving as fast as you can. So you're basically running the whole way. So you finished that. I came back. And at this point, you've put on probably about 12 miles on your feet, right? And you're getting a little bit tired. And then you sit down, you do a knowledge exercise. They ask you to, show how you can communicate, use radios, call for fire, do land navigation, mathematically, do all this kind of stuff to show that you've got the intellect to do it. And then the last thing they did is they would do what they called a sniper run or a hog run. So some of the snipers in the unit would take you out and run you through. And again, I was an East Coast Marine. So I was stationed in North Carolina, Camp Lejeune, which has a lot of swamps around it, a lot of alligators, a lot of bugs. And they would run you through the swamps. And as you're going through, they'd make you get under the water and take all that muck. If you've ever been in a swamp, that muck from the bottom, you'd have to smear it on your head and your body. You got leeches on you. And I mean, there's giant green and yellow spiders, and there's snakes, and they'd run you through that for hours. And the reason they did that is they said, look, this is your life as a sniper. If you don't like being dirty and nasty and stinky and whatever, you're not going to like it. So they'd run you like that. And then I think a couple of hours later, we've probably put in, 14, 16 miles, pretty hard miles on our feet. And, we're tested and all this kind of stuff. And then we had an interview with the platoon commander. And at the end, they said, we're either going to bring you into the platoon or we're not. And I was fortunate. They said they were going to bring me into the platoon. So I was now